Oh, I think we're live. Yeah. Yep, we sure are. Welcome to the 95th episode of the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk here on the Gonzo Radio Network, Gonzo, otherwise known as Gonzo Media Productions now. By the way, we changed the name, the LLC name and the website name, which we will be getting around to launching soon. But I am Gonzo. I am Big Daddy Gonzo, my former pro wrestling name. And seated across from me, patiently waiting his time, a very world-weary Mr. Matthew Masaraki. We'd like to call him the Maz.
That's me. What's up?
Happy Super Bowl day.
Wow. Hence why...
There should be hats and trees, and we should put up, like, extra special decorations. I mean, I know they're doing that in Cincinnati and L.A., but, you know, there should be... this is the All-American holiday.
Oh, yeah, this is a big day. This is hence why we are together today, to make sure that we can talk about some foosball.
Yes, because, you know, God knows you've been avoiding me for the last, I don't know, month or two. I'm not hurt. I'm I'm an adult.
Been busy. Sorry.
Been very busy.
But we're back today. We are back today. So, all right, well, let's just say the Rams
not
win.
Too busy for me, is that what it is?
My prediction is... No, we'll wait.
You can get right to it. My prediction is...
We'll wait for that. So, yeah, we got a little bit to kind of chew on today. We got some interesting matchups, clearly, that we've been hearing about for the last 2 weeks. Do you like the 2-week break between the final game to determine who gets to today's game?
No gusto.
No?
No.
Seems like a long time. You think the players like it?
No, they don't like it either.
I don't think they do either. That's something
I would prefer. You know what? It would be really cool. It would be really cool is if they played the Super Bowl on a Monday night, a Monday night football Super Bowl. They do it for the national championship, Sunday night or Monday night. This last couple of years, it's been vacillating back and forth between Sunday and Monday night.
Right.
But I think that they should play the Super Bowl on a Monday night. Sure, why not? Let Monday Night Football cover it, their team cover it, the ABC, top ABC crew. But do it on a Monday Night Football. That gives you 8 days, 7 full days or 8 days to prep for the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And, you know, I think that's enough.
You know, if they can work out the whole ABC TV rights deal, whatever it is, in terms of just the time span, I think you're right. I think that is a really, really good option. So 8 days is good.
Listen, and I understand the reason why. The first week is so that you can get all your friends and family locked into going, all the logistics involved. It's like a typical road game, but you have all this extra stuff. Plus, you're going to have to do all the media availabilities. Everybody who is involved in the game or in the team is going to have an individual media availability.
Right.
All that crap. There's press week. You know, you're going to have a week where everybody sits around on the sidelines of the field on their director's chairs with their backdrop, and you have a million microphones in your face.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's press day. Actually, they make a whole day of it. And I understand why they do that. And then you have to have a week where you can practice. You know,
that's
practice
important
and get back
too.
to our regular routine.
Well,
but
then, I mean, again, it's hard to say. I've never really gotten the clear perspective from the players, you know, and seen or heard much of them talk about the fact of, you know, we'd rather just play in 8 or 7 days, 8 days, whatever it is, not the 2 weeks they have to wait now.
Well, we had one of those a few years ago. We had 1 week between the Super Bowls.
What was the reason for that? I don't remember.
I forget.
Was it weather related?
I don't think it was. Was it weather related?
I have no idea.
Maybe. I don't know. I have to go back and check.
But what I'm saying is that ultimately it should be up to the players. But obviously it is the NFL and the Shield and how powerful they are. listen, it's not like they're not making a ton of money in that 2-week period between all the discussions and all the revenue generated from all the TV and press coverage. So I get it from a business perspective, but from a fan perspective, and certainly from an analysis perspective, because it seems like you turn the TV on and you're hearing a lot of the same repetition
all day,
and it's almost like watching whatever mainstream news you watch. Once they find a particular narrative, it's just like get on the train and go.
I've been saying that for yes, I'm 100. I've been saying that for like 25 years, that this 2-week slog between the championship games and the Super Bowl, once you get down to about Wednesday or Thursday, the week before the game, everything is
you're right. You're right. All of the stuff starts to come together. I mean, you've kind of
repetitive.
It's a lot.
Oh my God,
it's a lot. It's a lot of the same information, but it's a lot of repetition. It's a lot of this. So
I like Dan Orlovsky. I think he's a very credible and knowledgeable analyst. Okay, but he is so up Matt Stafford's pooper, because he was Matt Stafford's backup for like 5 or 6 years.
Sure.
I guess they were roomies, and they got a bromance or whatever.
Besties.
They're besties.
They're besties,
and that's cool. That's cool. But I don't want to hear Dan Orlovsky anymore.
Yeah.
I don't.
I get it.
I'm normally interested in what he's got to say.
I get it.
But it's the same thing over.
We've been busy this last couple of weeks, so I really haven't spent a lot of time on watching the different networks, the different coverages. I usually tune into Colin. I just like his perspective on a lot of things. And then certainly some of the fantasy networks I listen to, because those guys go more into, what I like. They're not back behind, the actual statistics of the game, the numbers, get inside the matchup, stuff like that.
Right. Well,
not so much
Coward
opinion-based.
does broad analysis. He does a more broader analysis.
But I watch his show because he has guys like Greg Cosell come on, who breaks down the tape and gives you a lot of good information. So a lot of his guests are super knowledgeable. He's very well connected. So obviously, that sort of stuff. That's what I gravitate towards.
Greg Cosell never became a general manager.
Because he likes his basement. I mean, he's comfortable at home. It would make sense.
That guy would have made a good general manager.
He's a very smart guy. But again, given the time and the fact that he comes from certainly a football background and a knowledge background, dude's super smart. He's got great perspective. So, but what we're going to try and do, I guess, is try and break down this game like it has been already broken down a million times.
Bajillion
give
times.
Our perspective towards what we think. I'll be honest. I came into, I guess maybe an hour ago, leaning a particular direction, wanting a certain team to win, having this man crush / boy crush, I guess, without being awkward, on a particular player that I've been touting all year round.
Bromance.
Whatever it is. But
He's the only quarterback you needed.
I have been on Team Burrow all year, and up until an hour ago,
he drafted in fantasy.
My opinion of the situation, my feelings of the situation haven't changed. I'm still rooting for the Bengals. I'm still rooting for Joe Burrow.
I'm smelling a butt.
But I'm worried about Joe Burrow because the narrative has been, he's been knocked down so many times and he keeps getting back up. Yeah, that's true. We've seen him. He's gotten to this point where he's at the Super Bowl. The team's obviously one game away.
There are 3 or 4 very bad men on that LA defense.
He's been on his ass a lot, and it's like, the analogy I used was like Russian roulette. You keep spinning that barrel, and eventually you're going to pull that trigger and a bullet's going to come out. So, yes, he's been under duress since the beginning of the playoffs. And, yes, they've come back, and he's come back and looked like Superman. But I will say this, and you just reiterated it, it's just the guys on the other side are mean and ugly. And they are coming. And when your weakness has been the offensive line and the inability to allow Joe Burrow to see the ball down, to throw the ball downfield, to get opportunities to throw the ball down the field, just real quick, some next-gen stats that we pulled up. In the playoffs, and clearly we've seen the teams he's played, Tennessee and the pressure he got there, certainly the pressure he'll get today. His completion percentage under pressure has gone from 64% to 46%. That's a huge jump.
Huge.
And this is another telling number, yards per attempt. During the regular season, he was almost at 10 yards per attempt. In the playoffs, he's less than 5 yards, about 4.6. So not getting the opportunity to make those big plays is what we identify their offense as. Chase, run, and go routes and, guys getting open and just making big plays after the catch. If Joe's not getting time to get those downfield, then that takes away a good part of who they are. So you and I, we've been creating scenarios for Cincinnati to be successful today. But the problem is that we can create as many scenarios as we like here on paper or in our minds. They still got to be able to find ways to get time to make those plays to get the ball downfield. And I just don't know how they're going to do it against this defense. It's going to come down to the one-on-one matchups. You know they're going to double team Donald. And it'll be the other one-on-one matchups like Greg Gaines, Robinson. If those guys are winning their one-on-one matchups, man, it's going to be another long day for Burrow. And I mentioned Superman. He's going to have to be Superman, Batman, Invisible Man, whatever man. And
Invisible Man was not in the Justice League.
Well, whatever league he's in, he's
the Flash, Aquaman,
something.
He's got to go with Man.
He's got to be all these because it's going to be a long day for the Bengals.
The whole damn Justice League.
Yeah. So, and again,
including Wonder Woman.
Throw her in there. You might as well. He's going to need all the help he can get. So,
Batgirl.
Your call.
Gotcha. Batgirl was never in the Justice League.
Never?
Never.
Was Batgirl, what's her face that played that role?
Yvonne DiCarlo.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of the one that was married to David Justice. Halle Berry. Wasn't she?
Halle Berry played Catwoman.
Oh, a different woman.
And now we have Zoe Kravitz playing Catwoman.
I don't know who that is.
I'm excited for the new Batman
movie
to come out. Even though it's got Robert Pattinson playing Bruce Wayne and Batman.
New Spider-Man movie was very good.
Yeah,
very good.
So I was all up in it. I went there.
Comics
I went there as a personal memorial to my good friend, the late great Bobby Mack.
Mm-hmm.
I went there with my Geek Fest T-shirt and I sat there by myself. I don't usually go to the movies alone, but I was there with Bobby.
Okay.
And
then you weren't alone.
And we geeked out.
Cool.
I can tell you that spoiler alert for those of you who've not seen it yet. I almost stood up when Aunt May died. I'm a Marissa Tomei fan. I love Marissa Tomei.
You cried.
I almost stood up and said, "This is some bullshit."
Oh, you got angry.
Well, the hell.
The next emotion is usually sadness. So again, I'll ask you again. Did you cry when she died?
No, I didn't cry when she died.
Right.
I was just mad.
I was close.
I was like, "You bastards."
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, sports, football. Hey, we're back to football.
Yes.
All right. So now that we've done 2 minutes of digression, let me ask you this question. What's the name of this game? What is this game called?
The game. Oh, it's the Super Bowl.
It's the Super Bowl.
It's the Super Bowl. Yes.
And we've had 56 of them.
Had a bunch.
Yeah. Okay. Not even counting the 45 NFL championship games that they had before 1965.
Mm-hmm. Before the merger, sure.
Before the merger. Okay. Not even counting those. Okay. How many times have we seen teams that had no business being in the Super Bowl? No business being in the Super Bowl.
I think Joe called one of those, didn't he? Joe Namath?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he started the trend.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No business being in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Okay. And they came out with the Lombardi Trophy. They came out with the trophy. No business whatsoever being in the Super Bowl. And another thing is that usually somebody stepped up and was a superstar that you had no idea was going to be the superstar. Think about how many MVPs that we have from the Super Bowl that have gone on to have unremarkable careers before and after the Super Bowl.
Sure.
And a lot of them got paid. But these are guys that went on. They had a great Super Bowl.
Nick Folk. That's
oh my God! He's turned that into $20 million
for a few years.
Yeah,
he got a multiple
what about your
year
boy
deal
from the Steelers? Or excuse me, he was from the Cowboys when they beat the Steelers. Washington, I think his name is the safety. He was the player of the game. He got a couple of contracts after that. I mean, and
it's definitely could be
one good game.
Yeah, well, you could be. This is your moment to shine. Right. So if you shine,
Timmy friggin' Smith,
it could happen.
I told you about Timmy friggin' Smith. 36 carries, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, MVP. Stole two contracts after that. Made him rich.
Sure.
God bless.
Sure.
And you have a defensive MVP and a Super Bowl ring, pal. Nobody can take that away from you. So the Super Bowl, the ultimate American holiday, Okay, a lot of shit stops for the Super Bowl. Like I said, somebody should put up a tree. Somebody should put. I mean, some houses are decorated.
The Super
in
Bowl
orange and blue.
tree.
Super Bowl trees,
Yeah.
Super Bowl hats, Super Bowl shirts. I mean, Super Bowl has their own merch.
Right.
Okay. Everybody sing your fight songs. Who Dey, Who Dey, Who Dey, and I don't know, what was it? Let's Ram It or whatever it is.
Well, certainly in the two cities, this is what's happening. Cincinnati,
Right.
who did not expect to be
Oh,
there.
you know what would be a really cool song to play at a Rams game? Black Betty. Remember them?
Oh, good song.
Ram-a-lam! Oh, Black
yeah.
Betty. It's they
Good
yell
song.
Ram-a-lam. Of course, nobody would know what the song was. It'd be
What
like,
would Cincinnati's song be?
oh my God, Eye of the Tiger.
Ooh, yeah.
Listen, every Tiger, you go to every college game with a Tiger or the Detroit Tigers, it's Eye of the Tiger, Eye of the Tiger. Welcome to the jungle. Welcome
Maybe
to the
Fat
jungle.
Bottom Girls?
Right. No Fat Bottom Girls.
No Cincinnati. There's some big ones up there. They hibernate for like 3 months.
And Cincinnati is the
Gets
Queen
really
City.
cold, so-
They are called the Queen City. So.
Okay, all right.
So you would play Queen, We Will Rock You, or something like that. But okay, so how many times have we seen in the 56 NFL championships, 56 Super Bowls, have we seen teams and players on those teams that are heroes for a day come out of the woodwork and win themselves a ring? That's my logic. Okay, besides the fact that all Joe Burrow does is win championships. Okay, win championships. Let's review the last 6 years of this kid's football career, starting in high school.
Okay.
Okay, he went on to win 2 state championships in the state of Ohio, and then he was highly recruited to Ohio State, as I guess home state alma mater, the elite team there. He was recruited by Georgia. He was recruited by a lot of D1 schools, and when he went to Ohio State, he saw that he wasn't going to get by Justin Field.
Nope.
So
Thank God for the portal.
So yeah. But the first team he took a sniff of was Georgia, and Georgia, he's like, I'm not getting by the guys at Georgia, so he went to LSU. Okay, great quarterback coach, great offensive coordinator. Coach O had just taken over. He gets in there, plays first 5 games, got hurt. Comes back the next year. His first 5 games, he's unspectacular.
Right.
Really wasn't his team. Who was it? Jamar Chase was an 18-year-old freshman, the baby. Come back the next year, it's on like Donkey Kong.
You know
Jefferson,
what? I had the same analogy.
Chase.
Yeah, they crushed it.
Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah.
Even Randy Moss's kid. Thaddeus Moss, I think is his name. Okay, we're talking about we're talking about 2 offensive linemen that are in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about a loaded team.
He balled out that
and
year.
he balled out.
Yeah.
And Joe Brady
Hence,
balled out.
where he went in the
Okay,
draft.
and
So
all the boy does is win championships.
I'm on board with that.
And this really looks like part of that cycle. Because what happened last year? He played 8 games, 9 games, and got hurt. And now here he comes back, lighting it up. He's in a championship game.
I love him, man.
Okay.
That's my guy. But
Imagine,
I'm worried.
if you will,
I'm worried.
a dimension beyond sight and sound.
I'm worried.
It's the Burrow zone.
Maybe the Bengals have to be the Superman today. Maybe it can't be at
The
this
rest
point.
of the team steps up.
Maybe it can't be at this point
Maybe.
just on Joe, because we clearly know the
Maybe.
disadvantage.
Possibly.
We clearly know the fact that if you're looking at the 2 sides of the ball, which side clearly has the advantage. Despite all the talent on Cincinnati's side,
That Rams defense is ugly.
despite Chase's big playability, despite Higgins, despite Tyler Boyd, Mixon obviously is going to be a big factor today. Cincinnati has the weapons, but when you have to, again, create specific game scripts for them to be successful, and you're doing that because the other side is just ferocious, and it's just going to be very difficult for Cincinnati to be, I don't want to say perfect, but just really, really good in all aspects to be able to beat the Rams. But again, I will say this, and clearly how you explain, there are scenarios, there are things that come up in games.
What happens in the Super Bowl?
There are, muffed punts, and there are bad snaps, and there are crazy things that go on that could definitely rewrite a game script or change the direction of a football game. And if that's the case, obviously, if you give Joe and those weapons opportunities, then certainly, I mean, they're good enough to capitalize on them and stay in this football game or to even win this football game. So again, my heart is go Joe Burrow and the fact that what he's done to this point, despite their glaring shortcomings with the offensive line, has been spectacular. And the guy is just amazing, and he's so young, and the Bengals are very fortunate to have him as their quarterback. More importantly, more side of the Bengals. Joe Mixon, I kind of mentioned him and the importance of
STUB stud
of him. Yeah, I mean, we talked about before the show coming into this year. He was, not to say an afterthought, because you knew that there really wasn't a lot of competition for touches, but based on history, maybe injury history, other things, Mixon just didn't get a lot of love. So clearly now we know who Joe Mixon is. He's a top 5 running back in the NFL. That's not even debatable. If Joe Mixon gets 20 touches today, and I'm hoping that's their game plan, then that's an advantage Bengals. Because even if it's 15 carries for 35 yards, okay, I'm not saying overly productive touches, but just keeping the defense, that pass rush, keeping them honest, giving them opportunities to have the receivers make plays. That's why you're doing that. And again, controlling clock.
Well, it's exactly what they did against Tennessee. It's exactly what they did against Kansas City. Like you were saying before, we actually talk about what we're going to do before we actually go on the air.
Yeah.
And we were talking about they run on first down.
Consistently.
First down, run.
Yeah. And again,
first down, run.
It's 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Right.
But it keeps the defense honest to a degree.
Yeah.
It gives that offensive line, because if you ask offensive linemen, I think they'd rather run block than pass block, especially against this force. So creating plays in situations where you're in control of the ball, that's going to be a key for Cincinnati. So as good as Mixon's been, now 20 touches, maybe 6 catches too, because I think, again, we talked about the lack of time Joe Burrow may or he may have or may not have. Screen plays, get the ball in Mixon's hands in the flat, let him make plays. That's going to be key.
Yeah.
That's going to be key.
Yeah.
So, but again, here we are again creating, this is what has to happen for Cincinnati to be successful. They got to play the game, and it's going to come down to execution. These games get wacky, and this game could be no different. We've seen what's happened this year. These last 8, 9, 10 playoff games have been amazing. It's been the best football that we've seen consistently over that stretch of time.
Let me tell you what Coach Taylor and everybody on that Cincinnati side of the field, they need to go review the 3 game tapes, not just the first 2 where San Francisco whooped the Rams. All 3 game tapes, because San Francisco, new Miami Dolphins head coach Mike Daniel, San Francisco figured out how to neutralize Aaron Donald, how to control Aaron Donald, had to keep Aaron Donald off the headlines, keep Aaron Donald from disrupting the game. And one of the ways to do that is to run at him, okay? Because his only weakness, and it's really not a weakness, his weakness is probably somebody else's strength, okay? But the only chance that you have is to go at him, because that way you can get a block on him. Because if you give the guy a chance to use his feet, speed-wise, balance-wise, whatever, okay, instead of just going strength versus strength, which is also hard, everything is hard about going against this guy. He's not that tall, he's not that wide, he weighs 290 pounds, 285 pounds, but he's a monster, okay, and I understand this. But you have to go at him. If you got to double team him. Well, but go at him. Take your chances with everybody else.
They're going to have to.
Okay. I mean, listen. Go. I want somebody to go put a microphone in Mike Daniel's face, and Mike Daniel will tell you. So the only way, don't let him get up ahead of steam. Don't let him get moving this way or that way. Okay, because that's where all his tricks are.
Yeah.
That's where all his advantages are. Okay, go right at him. Put 600 pounds in his face and wall him off. And even if you wall him off, you're still going to see a big arm come between the 2 bodies
and
try to grab you. And he'll grab you and snatch you down to the ground. And it's like, he's a monster.
You do what you can do.
But you do what you can do, and the best thing that you can do is go at him. So I believe that early on, as I've gone around and around and around about this subject, back to Joe Mixon, run, first down, run, first down, run. Okay, simple as that. Doesn't matter if it's 2 yards, doesn't matter if it's 20 yards. First down, run. Because those 15 first down runs are going to turn into 3 or 4 play actions. And at least one of those play action plays is going to go for 6. Going to go for big, going to go for huge.
Well,
okay.
What they have not been able to do, the Bengals, is get into those big plays. But if they get those opportunities, they're going to have to execute.
Well, they did. They did against Tennessee.
Yeah, they're going to have to
They
execute.
did against Kansas City.
Yeah.
It's their formula.
Yeah, those low percentage plays, those go routes and stuff, they're going to have to execute on one or two of those plays for sure.
Right. But it is their formula. It is their script. It is their strategy.
Yeah.
Okay. And we also spoke about another way they're going to do it is swing passes. And I watched both Baltimore and Tennessee games versus the Bengals, and especially in both the Baltimore games, they ran that swing pass. They ran a swing pass. They threw a swing pass 4 times, and only one time was it a check down. I mean, it was on purpose.
Yeah, design plays.
Okay, it was a design swing pass to Mixon, and then a check down to Mixon, and then they came back all to the right too, and then they came back. And that was with Judon coming at him. That's with a blitz coming at him on that side. And all Mixon was doing is throwing layups, just lofting it over these guys' heads.
Burrow, yeah.
And then the third and the fourth one were to their backup running back, P. Ryan.
Right.
Okay, who's going to be a factor, like you said.
I think he will be, just for the fact that they're going to have to throw the ball to the backs in this game to alleviate that rush.
They did that 4 times.
Yeah.
And that was because the front 7 was teeing off on Burrow. They had sacked Burrow the previous series. They sacked him back to back times.
Yeah,
and almost killed the kid.
He's been under so much pressure.
They've learned to do the things that mitigate this ferocious pass rush. They know that their offensive line is bad, just bad. Oh God! And they've got 2 first-round draft choices on that bad offensive line. It's sad.
It's young.
Worse than Miami.
It's in spots they've looked okay.
Yeah.
But this is teams
Who's the
with
kid from Alabama they got playing left tackle? Come on,
teams
You're from
that
Alabama, for God's sake,
have good offensive lines struggle against this sort of pass rush.
Yeah.
So it could be a very long day. There are a lot of storylines, like we mentioned, that have been beaten to death. There's a lot of good stories, certainly, in this game as well. On the Rams side of the ball, Eric Weddle? Are you kidding me?
retired for 2 years.
Are you kidding me? The dude comes
but he's
back.
in good shape, bro. He still works out.
He hadn't played a game in 745 days.
There's got to be some quick acting steroids there or something.
Well, listen. First game he comes back, okay?
Like cartoon steroids. Like he injects himself and he goes...
He plays 19 of the 54 snaps in that game, okay? And is highly productive. Game after that, he plays 60 of the 71.
Yeah.
Last game, he plays every snap.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
He just needed a couple of weeks to work himself into shape.
It's an amazing... And it's not like
they had no safeties.
Listen.
Their top 3 safeties
Hold
all
on.
went out due to injury.
Time out. He's leading the team in tackles.
I understand.
Okay? It's not just he showed up and he's out there taking a spot on the roster. He's playing and he's been one of the most productive.
Well, here's a good question. What was he doing previous to just coming out of retirement? I mean, was he a coach's assistant on the field? Was he with the team? Was he playing?
I'm going to venture to say that he kept his UFIT membership because he is clearly in game shape and can clearly handle the position.
Let's remember he was a little bit of a freak when he played.
No question.
Okay, and the guy played 16 seasons?
No question. But
At
that's
safety?
another thing too. He's 100 and he's doing this, and it's amazing. And
he is one of several guys that I hope that if the Rams win the Super Bowl, I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to be mad because there are a lot of guys on that end of the ball.
There are good stories
that
there,
deserve to have a Super Bowl ring.
I mean, there are good stories there too.
Odell Beckham Jr. deserves to have a Super Bowl ring.
I'll get to him.
Cooper Kupp deserves to have a Super Bowl ring.
I'll get to him. We'll get to him.
Cam Akers deserves to have a Super Bowl ring.
There's a lot of good signs. Listen,
And that's besides Matt Stafford
and his wife and the situation with the cancer and everything they went through as a family and his 19 kids.
They deserve to have a Super Bowl ring.
Yes, all
but Joe Burrow is going to be the guy to win.
Okay, well, again, I like that one too. I like that one too. There's another guy on that side of the ball, Von Miller.
He's already got one, and he deserves another one.
Here's his effectiveness in the last few games. He went from a 9% pressure rate to an 18% pressure rate.
Savage.
So they're using his talents and abilities as well. So there's lots of good stories on that side of the ball. Let's talk about Beckham and his effectiveness. Or let's even go outside of this game in particular. What do you think? And God, this is going to make you laugh.
Yeah.
But what is Baker doing right now? He's watching all this and going, man,
It has to come back to Baker
Odell
Mayfield.
was pretty good, wasn't he?
You have to come back to Baker
Oh, wait,
Mayfield.
I had to get my shot in. Maybe Odell's father was right. Maybe he was right when he started to put that stuff out there
Sure.
about, look at my guy, look at my son, he's open, throw him the football.
Sure.
Okay, all this other stuff. So anyway, that was my little Baker dig. But it's true, the Odell story here and the fact that he's been so productive. And let's see if I've got his numbers. 19 for 236 and a touchdown so far.
Listen,
That's huge.
Let's look back to Odell Beckham Jr.'s most productive years with the New York Giants. Okay, he had a quarterback who had 5 different strong throws. Okay, let's face fact, no matter what anybody thinks about Eli Manning, okay, about his comparisons to his brother, Eli had 5 just money throws. It's his touch fade, it's his slant route, it's a dig route, and it's his long ball. Okay, money. The boy could chuck it.
Yeah, they could throw it. Yeah.
Okay, everybody's talking about 5-tool baseball players. That's a 5-throw quarterback. All the other stuff, throwing on the run, he's a good improviser. Okay, so when he had Odell, and he knew he had Odell Beckham Jr. Okay, when he had Odell, he knew that he could throw at least 3 of those throws in his direction, and he was going to go get it. Okay, I don't think Odell saw very many of those throws while he was in Cleveland.
He complained about
all.
target share. He complained about obviously opportunities, but you have to look at who the Browns are and who they were.
Right.
They were a run-first team.
Right.
They were 60% run.
Exactly.
And they were built that way because they had 2 great running backs, a good offensive line, and they knew the shortcomings of the quarterback.
Right.
So they didn't want to put Baker back there throwing the ball 35 times.
Right.
That wasn't their game plan. So it was
And having a 5-tool receiver like that is a waste of his time.
he doesn't thrive in a system like that.
Yeah.
You know what? The big thing on
That's a
Odell,
guy that needs 10 targets a game.
there are always players that fall under the assumption that they're troublemakers or they're cancers in the lot. All these negative connotations that go with certain players that I don't think necessarily fit.
Right,
because
they're not true.
He's had a lot of baggage that he's had to fight through, and a lot of it I think was just because his personality, at least in the media's perception, is out there. The yellow hair and the outspoken comments and whatever. But again, I just think it was an unfair depiction of who he is. The kid can play.
Oh,
and
flat out, ball out.
And I don't think he's anywhere near any of those connotations that were being said about him. Like, none of that stuff ever came from the locker room. It always came from print. It always came from the media.
Yep.
You never heard players or quarterbacks or anybody that worked with him come out and say, "Oh wow, that Odell guy, he's just like Antonio Brown," or he's just like. You never heard that. Right. So it was, again, he changed teams. He went from the Giants. He went to the Browns. He was unproductive. So it was easy to say it was his fault, but it clearly is not, and it clearly wasn't. No. So 5 touchdowns out of 8 regular season games with the Rams. And that's with a lot of mouths to feed in that offense.
Yeah.
I think Odell could clearly be a number 1 still with the right opportunity, certainly, because, again, opportunity would have to present
But
itself.
not with a team that runs the ball 63% of the time.
Exactly. So he's thriving. They're good. He's good, and you're going to see again, like you said, you'd like to see him get credit for what he's been
Get
through.
the man a ring.
It could very well happen today
Yeah.
because he's going to be a part of that offense today too.
Hey, I'll tell you one play I would love to see is I would love to see him pull off a one-handed touchdown catch. One of those sideways.
Oh, yeah.
Back here,
Poster type.
pull it in and around
Yeah.
and fall down, one-handed. OBJ special because let's face facts. He's the guy that started the one-handed craze, to where players are actually practicing catching with one hand, and coaches aren't coming along and going, "Hey, cut that foolishness out." It's like, well, no, they're using a jugs gun.
Yeah.
They're using you've worked with jugs guns in baseball, a bunch.
Yeah.
Those things throw hard.
Yeah.
And they're throwing footballs with a jugs gun. That's bananas. That's just nuts to me. But not a jugs gun, a jugs machine.
Jugs machine. Yeah.
Well, it is. It throws like a gun.
It shoots like a gun. Yeah.
But you have kids in high school that are practicing one-handed catches. Why? Because you always aren't going to have a second hand available in some instances.
and everybody wants their poster moment. So.
Right. Well, and you know what's really funny? I don't think it's an ego. I don't think it's an ego thing. I think it's actually a practical weapon in a wide receiver's arsenal, or any receiver, anybody who catches the football. It's a practical weapon in their arsenal because you're going to have a play where the DB or the linebacker or whatever, the defender, is going to be holding on to your left arm.
Oh, all the time. Yeah.
Okay, or holding on to your right arm.
They can't call every pass interference.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
So your arm is going to be able to get up there. Okay, you look at Mike Gesicki for the Dolphins. I'm trying to sneak everything back to the Dolphins today, but look at Gesicki. Gesicki's a guy that he had to have 3 one-handed catches last year. Okay, one was an insane extension catch that they've actually got a picture of that they put on the elevator door. Dolphins PR department's hilarious. But that was a beautiful one because it was full extension. It was ta-da.
Yeah.
Okay, but he had 2 others where the DB had his arm hooked behind him, holding on, dragging him, got shoulder pad coming out sideways.
Made the catch.
Snagged it out of the air.
Well, the athleticism of these
practice.
Receivers, the tight ends you mentioned, are
Right.
unbelievable. The back shoulder throw
Kelsey.
is in the arsenal too.
The back shoulder. Oh,
and
yeah.
that's a play again where you're trying to, you're counting on your receiver to make a spectacular play at
Sure.
times, and so certainly, yeah, that's definitely a part of the game.
So I want to see Odell Beckham Jr. I'd like to see him get a Super Bowl ring. It would, like I said, it wouldn't disappoint me if the Rams won. I just want to see a good game.
Right.
But if we're going to see a good game, we're going to see a shootout. I want to see some OBJ one-handed catch action, especially in the end zone. I want to see some of that. We'd all like to see some Cooper Kupp catching 10 balls for 140 yards and 2 touchdowns like he has. By the way, bravo, Mr. Kupp. Offensive Player of the Year? MVP candidate?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
He's a beast.
Your boy Aaron Rodgers won the MVP. I mean, I'm sure you're really, really happy about that. Go Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Double check that discount, will you?
Yeah, put that trophy behind your not second Super Bowl trophy that you don't have. So here you go. Put it there. Let's see.
Hey, that salt is bad for my blood pressure. Okay, I got to take medication.
Sorry. So real quick, where's Aaron going to go? I don't know. Is he staying in Green Bay? Is he leaving Green Bay? Is he whatever?
I don't know. Does anybody care? I have a lurking guru. Do you want to say something or add something? Or
If you mention my prop that
he has a prop that we're going to get to the prop. You know what? This is as good a time as any to segue because I really don't want to talk about Aaron Rodgers.
F Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, well, it's bad enough that they talk about him every day on Get Up.
Let me tell you something.
I'm tired.
Physically, he's looking worse and worse, in my opinion.
He looks hungover.
It's like he doesn't. I mean, his eyes are bagged out. He looks
hungover.
like kind of weird.
I think that it's his really hot movie star girlfriend that's
No,
draining the life out
I
of
don't
him,
know.
which is
There's
fine. That's
something-
a hell of a way to go.
There's something weird going on there with him.
Vegan?
Maybe
Is
he's an
that what it
alien.
is?
Could he be an alien?
Maybe.
Maybe Aaron Rodgers is
His
an alien.
skin's hanging off.
Something's weird.
Like, okay, so
Yeah.
Props.
Props. We'll get there.
Because the Super Bowl is full of props. What
Okay.
play is this? What play is that? What play is
Right,
the other?
gotcha. Coin
but
flips
the
and-
Guru's Guru came up with an interesting. But what was your prop again?
Over under national anthem.
I like the over for Cooper Kupp on his yards. I think it's 108.
Okay.
108 for
Big
Cooper
number.
Kupp on his yards, 108.
I think 115 in the playoffs.
It's a big number. Yeah, 108 is a good number. Well, if you look at the fact that if the Bengals sell out and they're like, we'll give you Cooper and we're going to get everything else, then, yeah, Cooper's going to feed. I mean, there's no question. But do the Bengals commit, or at least on the other side, try and go, you know what, maybe we can chip Cooper to a degree. Maybe we can slow him down and let someone else beat us. And they got a lot of someone else's, though. I mean, we just mentioned two of them. So I don't know. It's a big number. People may be scared for the fact that you got a guy that having to get 100 yards. Where's the juice on that? Do you know? Is it on the over or on the under? Do you know?
I'm not, I think it's 120 both ways, but I'm not sure.
But you would take the over.
Yeah, I'm moving.
Oh.
I'd like to see.
That and there's no.
That's 108 and over. Okay.
There's a little more emphasis on the passing game in that respect. That there's no dump off for Higbee. So.
Do you think the Rams are going to want to use Cam more today now that he's gotten a little bit more rest? And it looks like in spots, maybe he hasn't been totally
Cam
effective.
Akers?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But what I'm saying is that
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
he hasn't been totally effective since we've seen him come back. But you've seen glimpses of it. Like you've seen the explosiveness because nobody gives them what he does.
Right.
And I think if he's capable, and that's the question the answer I don't know. If he's capable, then I think Cam could be a big factor today.
He has to, like I said, no Higbee helps everybody else.
Right.
Right. Well, and on the injury front, by the way, Darrell Henderson Jr. has been activated for the Super Bowl. Yeah, so the guy who has been hurt, he's back. They're actually at full strength.
Yeah,
at running
I was
back.
going to say both teams are pretty healthy except for the tight end.
Michelle, too.
So
Yeah, Sony Michel, Cam Akers, Henderson.
it's a lot. They have a lot on that
The gang's
side.
all here.
They have a lot on that side, and because
and I'm telling you right now that Uzoma is going to play.
Okay.
Uzoma.
okay,
Yeah.
so
Uzoma.
all right. Well, we'll get to props, but I have two in particular that I really like. But,
Well, let's hear it.
well, is the Chase prop? Did I hear it at 5.5 catches? Over under? Then it's a clear over for me because even though it's Ramsey and even though what we talked about, the fact that he's the best in the league at yards after the catch, there's going to be a lot of quick screens, a lot of dump offs, stuff like that. Just a lot of opportunities for him, and I can't see him not getting 5.5 catches.
Well,
even if it's 9 catches for 70 yards, I mean that's the type of game he may have.
Right.
And then if they get into the end zone, then they can use his ability and stuff like that to go up and get one.
Right.
But so, listen, he's their best offensive weapon on that side. They want him to get the football. So
Right.
5.5 is just a small number for me for your best player. Okay, that's just
Right.
it just
Well,
doesn't make any sense.
well, first of all, their head coach Taylor, he is he's a Shanahan disciple, a former Washington and San Francisco staffer. Okay, so he is also going to run a very similar offense to what the San Francisco 49ers run. That's how they've been successful the last 2 years.
Right.
So last year he used Tyler Boyd more as that end around jet sweep guy. Okay. This year they've been using Jamar Chase as that end around sweep guy with some Tyler Boyd mixed in.
Just to get the ball in his hands.
Just to get the ball in his
yeah,
hands.
no question.
Touches, definitely over 6. Whether they're all catches.
Well, it's receptions. This is a
Oh, it's
5.5
receptions.
catches.
Okay.
This isn't touches. This is
'Cause
5.5
I'm
catches.
seeing 5 and 2. I'm seeing 7, 8, 9 touches.
Who
You know,
knows?
but
I'm seeing
I'm-
more than
I'm
I'm seeing more than
6
6
of
catches.
them, yeah.
I'm seeing 6 catches.
Yeah.
At least.
Okay.
The other one I like is Burrow's completions are at 24.5. I like the over in that.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Because there's going to be a shit ton of checkdowns, like we said. Mixon, Pirine, I think the running back position alone gets 8 catches.
8 catches.
At least in this game, maybe more.
And I think they're going to have to play catch in the second half.
And if that's game script where they have to throw the ball, again, more completions. Even if they're at the checkdowns, even if they're, the quick passes and let the receivers make the plays, 24.5 doesn't seem like a big number at all. So if those two, for me, and that's my 2 biggest
History of
props.
Super Bowl, it's always good to take the under in the first half because nobody wants to make that first move. You're a little tenuous.
Right.
Back. It's always low scoring first half. So as far as over under,
Except for in 1987 with the Washington Redskins and the Denver Broncos, right? Is that what it was?
was that 4 touchdown passes in the second
Pew, 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 pew. Light them up.
Yeah.
for the quarterback.
Yes, light them up.
This after LA opened up with a flea flicker.
Yeah. So don't do that. You just make them mad.
Yeah. They opened the game with a flea flicker, and then it was all Redskins after that.
Exactly. All right. So next prop.
There's so
Odell
many
Beckham
of
Jr.
them.
one-handed catch.
Yeah,
One-handed catch. Yeah.
Plus 160.
Plus
Take
160.
it. Plus 160. I'm in.
Okay.
And also tails. And a minute 43 on the anthem.
Aaron Donald unnecessary roughness.
Yeah, those are a couple of the ones that I keyed on. I mean, I don't have any action on any props today, just fantasy related. So let's talk about fantasy a little bit.
Oh my.
It's just a one-game showdown. How this works, at least if you're on DK, is you got the captain spot, which is a guy that you think is going to produce the most for his buck, and then you got to fill out the other 5 spots. And the guy who I think is going to step out today, who may be a little under the radar, who is a guy who at times this year has put up some huge numbers, but I like Van Jefferson today.
Van the Man
Yes.
Jefferson.
I think at his price point on DK, he's like
Number 3 wide receiver.
11th or 12th priced. It enables
The land of opportunity.
It enables you to get a few extra opportunities and maybe that big play. And again, it just fits in my lineup the way that it is. I think Mixon gets a ton of touches today, so just based on volume alone, I think you have to put him in your lineup today. And just, I don't know, if you have to pick a quarterback in terms of production today, even though I like Burrow, we've beaten it to death, my little man crush. And I like his over completions of 24. I just don't think they're going to have enough big plays in that offense to pay off what you could get on the other side.
Uzoma.
Yeah, I don't know. From a fantasy perspective, I would rather have Bradford today
That's okay.
because I think Bradford throws for more overall yards for the simple fact that they'll have that big play opportunity. They'll have guys that can go get it. So anyway, so that's just a little take. So it's Van and Bradford. It's my combination today. And some Mixon, and then maybe fill in the other spots with like the kicker from Cleveland who can't miss. You know, McPherson.
From Cincinnati, yes, the rookie.
McPherson.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
I believe a Florida Gator.
The baddest 5'10", 160 guy you're giving on the planet right now. He's like Babe Ruth calling his shots. He's like, guys, I got this.
Well, let me tell you, we're all used to it being, little 5'6" foreign guys. Our generation, 5'6" foreign guys from, the Ukraine or from Costa Rica or from, soccer players.
Right.
Okay. But nowadays, kickers are like regular sized guys to big dudes. To big dudes.
There's a few badass punters out there.
All right, Janikowski was probably the start of the big kicker trend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big leg. Yeah.
But he was a big dude.
He
too.
was kind of
6'2",
yeah, he was
250, 260.
He was a meatball.
He was a party animal
Yeah.
too. Believe me, they miss him in Oakland. There's some bars out there like, oh, we got to do something to make up for lost business. But now you're starting to get guys like who's the guy? Bullock in Tennessee.
Yeah,
he looks like he could be a bouncer at a sports bar.
He's angry at times.
And he's all of 6'2" with a beer gut, and he actually looks like he works out a little bit.
Probably does.
Harrison Butker. Harrison Butker is a big dude.
Listen, if you get a last name of Butker, you better be tough. You better be a badass.
Yeah, I mean, you see everybody around him celebrating. It's usually, you can't see the kicker because all the linemen are jumping up around him. But no,
That's
see
him
Butker,
lifting the lineman?
Yeah.
That's him. Hey,
he's pulling a dirty dancing with a 300-pound lineman.
Yeah.
So, these kickers are getting larger and more athletic. The same goes for the punters. I mean, let me tell you what, give me an Aussie that used to play Australian rules football as a punter. Why? Because that gives me a dangerous 11th man on special teams.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Not afraid to make contact.
Oh, he will kill you.
Yeah, that's a
If
plus.
you have the nerve to return that punt more than 5 or 10 yards, he's coming.
You know what? There is always, it seems like, especially in the most recent Super Bowls, where there's been a play or two where you're like, where did that come from? So
Yeah.
how about, can we get a prop on a punter recovering his own fumble today? Give me plus 600 on that, and I'm in.
Recovering a muffed punt or a fumbled punt.
Him making the punt Obviously, he's the punter.
Right.
Muffing it, getting the recovery himself. Plus 750. I'm on it. Plus 750 right now. I'm on it. So,
Oh my God.
listen, those sorts of plays happen in games like this. So I went back and looked at, because there's going to be an MVP in this game, and 24 times of the, 56 Super Bowls we have,
Right.
it's not been the quarterback. So 32 times it's been the quarterback. The rest of the time it's been kick returners, it's been whatever, defensive guys. Who wins today, and who wins the MVP?
All right. Let's see. First of all, sticking to my guns, been telling everybody for 2 weeks, Cincinnati by 4. I'm seeing a field goal to take the lead late by the Rams. Back and forth game, and then a late touchdown by Joe Burrow to T. Higgins. There you go. Late touchdown pass.
Okay.
Joe Burrow to T. Higgins. Cincinnati wins. Let's call it 31-27.
Okay.
Back and forth, back and forth.
That'd be a great game.
The MVP, I think, because I think he's going to have an outstanding game, the MVP is going to be your boy Joe Mixon. I think Joe Mixon gets himself 25 touches. 25 touches, 20 carries for 110, 115 yards and a touchdown, and 5 catches, 1 for a touchdown. Wow. He is going to he's going to be the difference maker. He's going to be the reason. I think he's going to be the MVP. So there you go. Joe Mixon is my MVP.
Mixon and the Bengals win it, and
I've been holding on to that, by the way, all week.
Bengals fans are jumping in the streets right now based upon that analysis, and it could happen. Listen, I'm a Joe Mixon guy. I'm a Joe Burrow guy. I like the story. I love how they've played so far. And up until an hour ago, I was on Team Cincinnati.
Right, but think about this. Okay, 6 years ago or 5 years ago, when Joe came in, when Mixon came in, the other Joe, the first Joe, he came in. He was fresh off of a controversy at University of Oklahoma. He was deemed a black sheep. He even told the reporters, none of your damn business. I'm not talking to you. He was a petulant young man, but he could ball out. And they had nobody back then. And he could ball out. And then his second year, he could ball out. Third year, got hurt. Fourth year, which was not this year, but the year before, with Joe, with Burrow as a rookie, balled out, got hurt. This year, didn't get hurt so much. What did he miss? One game? Missed one game, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know, 1 or 2. But
One or
remember
two.
then,
But-
the earlier Bengal teams were bad.
Remember how he and Leonard Fournette were considered black sheep, and now you look at the two of them. One's playing in the Super Bowl, the other one's got a Super Bowl ring. Okay, they both grown up. Okay, so you can't give up on these kids. You can't give up on these kids. They're coming out of a situation where they were spoiled in their respective colleges. They were allowed to do whatever they wanted. Lord knows what was covered up in their name. You can't kick Joe off the football team. We ain't gonna win shit without him. Yeah. You can't kick Lenny off the football team. We ain't gonna win shit without him. Okay. But as they got out into the real world, or as they got into more and more and more stupid stuff, somebody obviously got a hold of them and said, "All right, idiot, you're going to cost yourself about $15 million and your freedom."
Yeah. Well, dysfunctional teams don't make it this far in the regular season.
Thank
Get the
God
Super Bowl.
Leonard Fournette got the hell out of Jacksonville.
So they obviously got in good spots, got in good environments, had good coaching
And
staffs,
thank God Joe Mixon got some good counseling.
had leaders on their teams, and in Mixon's instance, got Joe Burrow as a quarterback.
Right.
And in the Rams instance, obviously Bradford McVay, the whole foundation of the Rams and what they do as a successful model for a team. So
well, you know who straightened Joe Mixon out? Bob Stoops. Bob Stoops straightened him out. Because Bob told him, he said, "Listen, here it is. Okay, you had a fight with your girlfriend. You had a fight with another lady. Okay, you supposedly punched out a woman, okay, crazy shit happens. We understand. Okay, pay your penance. Pay your debt to society. Say you're sorry.
Learn from your mistakes.
Learn from your mistakes and stop being a moron.
Become a man. Yeah.
And Bob Stoops went to him and said, "Act like a man. Own it. Get a lawyer up. Pay the lady off. Whatever you need to do. Okay, let's get on with your career. You're a good football player. You're a good kid. You just did something stupid." Yeah. Okay, and it's paid off because Mixon is an upstanding guy in the Cincinnati community. He's an upstanding guy in his hometown. Donates lots of money to charity. He's a good guy. The same way with Leonard Fournette, and Leonard Fournette's going to be at the top of the free agent class.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't give up on these kids. You just can't.
No, he's been balling out and been doing it the right way.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know the kid, but I'm proud of him.
Good.
You know,
Good
I'm proud
stories.
of him.
Good stories.
Good stories.
Well, listen, we can go into a whole different segment of how the NFL does a good job in promoting the good stories.
Yeah, because all the bad stuff was on the Raiders' side today. The Raiders took one on the chin for everybody.
And
this
well,
year.
they certainly were the
They
bullseye.
had like 5 or 6.
But I'm comparing sports even like the
with
NBA.
a body count.
Well, let's look at the NBA on the flip side of that. And it's always tragedy after tragedy with some of these players. And it shows in the viewership about how Game 6 of the finals last year did, I think, a $12 million number or 12 million viewer number.
Yeah.
And the NFL games are doing 6 and 7 times that in terms of viewership. So, yeah, it's about good stories, and there are many. It's about promoting those good stories and then letting you know that those things actually exist in sports.
Yeah.
So, all right.
It's the same with OBJ. It's that and it's like you said about Odell Beckham Jr. Okay, he's a guy who is misunderstood. He's a guy who, people see him as flamboyant and see him as this. I mean, have you seen on TikTok or on Instagram the videos of him dancing for the little girl who's got cerebral palsy?
Yeah.
And all the charity work that he does for the. I mean, the kid is effusive in the charity work.
Yeah.
He and Jarvis Landry, they are best friends from college, and those two guys go out and put in charity work.
Yeah, they make a huge difference.
I wonder if they have the same. I'm really wondering if they have the same agent, because whoever that agent is, you're a very smart man, and you've done those two young men a great service. So anyway, moving on.
All right, my turn.
Your turn.
My turn. Again, I was on Team Bengals. I've been on Team Bengal. I've been on Team Burrow. I really, 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 I think deep inside of me want to kind of also
He's gone to the dark side.
get a second room in my house and paint that in Bengals colors, but I won't, because I think there's going to be some disappointment today. I just don't know how the Bengals are going to continue to be at such a disadvantage and to be able to put it on one guy's shoulder like he's done. Given all the circumstances, okay, Joe Burrow is a gunslinger. Okay, let's throw out these corny analogies now. What I mean by that is that
So is Matthew Stafford.
down the field, throw a pick, forget about it, move to the next play. Down the field, throw a pick, forget it, move to the next play. This is who he is. He just keeps getting knocked down, keeps getting back up, and keeps exceeding expectations. They keep winning games. They're in the Super Bowl. If that happens enough times, it's even Superman falls, okay? Even Batman falls. Even the greatest of quarterbacks, the greatest of any athletes. It's difficult.
How many Super Bowls has Tom Brady lost?
He's lost a bunch. It's difficult to win at this final game in the NFL. Super Bowl, like you said. Super Bowl. Somebody has to be Superman in this game, and I think there are just too many guys on the other side that can take that cape.
Yeah.
Whereas on the Cincinnati side, all the pointing is one guy, and you can create about a half a dozen scenarios on the other side of the ball that could take that same cape. So from that perspective,
you remember Stuart Scott?
Oh, of course,
Of course, the late great Stuart Scott.
Of course.
He had a line, and it went something like this: "Mama, there's that bad man again. Mama, that bad man is back again."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and usually you use that for baseball, home run shots, things like that. But when you talk about the Los Angeles Rams defense, there's 5 of them, at least 4, Ramsey, Miller, Floyd, and of course Aaron frickin' Donald.
Yeah, all those guys.
Okay.
Yeah, they got more.
So,
Yeah.
And we're talking about guys on 3 different levels too.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And that's on the
insane.
defensive side.
That's the defense.
There's a few offensive MVP candidates too.
I'm not even talking about the
Yeah,
offense.
and that's
talking
what I'm
about the
saying.
defense.
We're talking about the number of guys that can wear that cape. There's so many of them on defense and on offense for the Rams.
Mama,
there's a lot of
that bad man.
There's
again.
a lot of playmakers on that side of the ball. So, I mean, ultimately, I just think it's going to be too much to overcome. I don't think there's much of a home field advantage here other than the familiarity of the park, of the facilities, the travel, the other stuff. But the Bengals have been there for a week, so I'm sure they're just as familiar. But there's a little bit there for an advantage for the Rams. Both teams are healthy. It's just for me analyzing the game, X's versus Y's. It's the Rams, and my MVP of the game is going to be Bradford, because as good as we mentioned all the talent on the offensive side, I mean, listen, Cooper Kupp easily 8 for 120 and a touchdown today. Van Jefferson gets in the game, he gets a touchdown.
Bradford,
One of the Darnold, really, come on, I'm fucking brain dead. Bradford. Listen, I'm into real estate. I have a real estate mind right now. We've been out of this for 3 weeks. We haven't done a show, so I'm sorry. Okay, Bradford. Yeah, Bradford. Stafford. You know what
You'll
that
be
is?
okay.
That's a slight dyslexian flip there, because for some reason I've done that before when I've been writing things down with those two guys, and in my mind,
I
for
told
some
you
reason
that MLS will rot your brain.
I flipped those two guys. So okay,
Watching MLS videos will rot your brain.
Stafford. I think Stafford, the quarterback for the Rams, gets the MVP, because I just think the way that he'll be able to facilitate, move the ball. They have so many weapons,
And he's one of those good guys that you
and
want to
he's
see
got a great
win.
story too. But I think their type of offense is where everybody can feed, and if everybody's feeding and you got one guy doing the distribution, he gets the title. And I think the Rams win this game today. I think it's a higher scoring game, although you mentioned you do like kind of like a lower scoring first half. I'm going to say 34-26 Rams. You'll try and see that heroic late Joe Burrow comeback and whatever, but I just don't think either it's going to be too much to overcome, or just by pure talent alone, the Rams in that spot, they'll probably get to him for the 10th time, and it's just too much for the Bengals to overcome. So not Bradford, but Stafford will get the MVP title. So that's what I'm going with. Drop the mic. Should be a great game, though.
Bradford.
I know, Brad. Gutekunst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's got to be a dirty word in German.
But listen,
Guterkunst.
he's going to be there next year, and I don't think the other guy will. So we'll see.
He is bound for Denver.
We'll see. Maybe.
Rocky Mountain High.
We'll see.
In Colorado. He looks like he belongs in Colorado, doesn't he?
He's going in that direction.
Yeah, exactly.
That's for sure. He looks rough.
Mountain man. Just
I
grow the
just-
beard now.
I don't know, man. He looks like 38 going on 58.
50.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm too close to 58. I even look younger than him.
Yeah.
If I grew this out, this would be like more salt than pepper. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But
A lot of salt.
A lot of easy.
A lot of
easy
salt
now.
there.
Yeah. You just because you shave on the regular doesn't mean anything.
A lot of salt there. So.
Yeah. Mr.
My
Silver
hairline
Chops.
would look like the coastline of Nova Scotia if I let it grow out. It's just, there's a lot of zigs and zags and things
There was
going
a-
on. So
there was a question pondered by one of my DJ friends. It was when bald guys wash their face, do they stop at the top of their head?
that's an
And
interesting.
I told him, I said,
discussion.
no, I go all the way to my ass. Are you happy now?
I just don't come back from there. That's all.
don't come back.
I only go. That's the last destination
Face
of the
backward,
Yeah.
not ass forward.
Yeah, they're like, okay, wash cost, destination ass. Okay, wrap it up from here, boys. Okay, so it's like it goes right to there, and then we're done. We don't go anywhere else.
Not how the aliens do it.
I got a process in the shower. I go A, B, C, and like J or K is ass. That's just how it works. So.
J and
Okay.
K.
Well, 'cause I got
you get
things
as
to
high
do.
as J and K.
I got feet. I
How
got
many
legs.
things you wash?
I got a system. I'm
Yeah.
tall. I got things to wash.
And it reminds
So,
me I need a new loofah.
Anyway.
All right. Wow. I think we've completely run out of things here. Okay. Here's a prediction I want from you. Are we going to see baseball this year?
Yeah, I think we will. I mean, it's
Late spring training.
maybe not. I mean, listen, they are still far apart, but they're talking.
Pitchers and catchers are supposed to report,
Tomorrow.
like, tomorrow.
Yeah, first time it hasn't happened in obviously since the last strike.
Right.
I think they will get it right only because of the fact that we're so quickly removed from COVID and the shortened season and the lack of revenue and all the issues that created. Baseball has to know that they're up against it in terms of people wanting to be involved in baseball. Keeping the interest level where it came off of from last year is very important. There's still good stories to be told in baseball. So I don't know. I mean, you would think that they're smart enough to get it right. I would say it's probably 80-20 yes.
Okay.
But that could change in a day, and we could be looking at a different storyline here. And that would not shock me, because you do have stuff called greed, which exists in life and sports still. And the owners apparently on this side of it, at least from what people are talking about, they're the ones that are going to have to make a concession.
Yep.
And are billionaires going to want to concede to millionaires? I'm not sure.
Pro labor
I'm
all
not,
day long.
I am. I'm pro labor, because without that, you're not in a position to run anything. You're just an owner.
I mean, hey, you suit those owners up, give them a glove, give them a bat, get out there and swing it around. Let's see how you. Hey, let me tell you, if you owners can go out there and you can play, and people are going to pay to see that, then God bless you.
The thing is
But
that
guess what?
Listen,
Ain't nobody there to see the owners.
they're not buying restaurants. These owners, okay, okay. This is what you do. You're a baseball owner, but to be a baseball owner, you have to have a baseball team.
Right.
And that baseball team has to get paid for their services,
Yep.
okay? And that payment is based upon demand.
Commiserate to the income.
Yes, okay, so it's
The revenue stream.
certainly in any business, you cannot have product and employees and not have an owner. Granted, there has to be a team
Yeah.
here, but certainly there is value to be placed on one side or the other. And clearly in sports, you got to have performance, you got to have sacrifice, you got to have all these things that are on the player side that, I don't want to say outweigh the owner, but at least present equal representation. And in baseball, there's never been equal representation. It's always been owners and then players down here, certainly in terms of the money. And that's what this is all about. This is about money. That's what everything comes to in today's society, whether it's sports or politics or medical or whatever it is, doesn't matter. It comes down to the dollar. So the owners clearly here have to concede, and I'm not sure if, again, billionaires are going to bow to millionaires. I just don't see how
Yeah.
that translates. But again, that's what the lawyers get paid the big bucks for.
Right.
So that's
Well,
the ones that have to get this
let me-
worked out.
let me get it dun dun dun. What you're seeing because of I would say it's an accelerated process because of COVID. You're seeing culturally around the world because of the interrupted supply lines, because of the supposed labor shortage. Okay, what you're seeing, and now you're seeing professional teams. Major League Baseball isn't the only one having this problem. They're having these problems in Europe with the MLS. They're having, or their international leagues. They're having problems with this in South America. Okay, but people in control, people at the top of the food chain, they've had it really good for a long time. We're talking 3-4 decades. Really good. And the systems have been rigged or have been arranged or have been organized to keep it really good for them. Their share of the revenue pie, their share as an entrepreneur or the business owner, yes, they take the highest risk, but that share of the pie is not commiserate to the contribution of the employees, the skilled entertainers, the skilled athletes. Okay, it's not commiserate. And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing a lot of blowback. I'm not just talking about the guy that makes the pizza down at Sal's Pizzeria who gets tired. I'm tired of making $17.50 an hour. I want to make $25 an hour. And it's not about the $15 living wage. It's not about the minimum wage. It's not about any of that. It's about
the people directly
value.
responsible for the success
Right.
of your business.
Right.
And the NFL is a business.
Right.
The baseball is a business.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right.
No different. That's the money side of things.
Basketball kind of got it right.
the reality.
Everybody's flipping out over, LeBron James make $48 million a year. I remember when Jordan got his last contract, and everybody was flipping out because Jordan topped $20 million a year. I'm like, he's Michael frickin' Jordan.
Well, the NBA has a bigger advantage than the rest of the sports just from a numbers
Right.
perspective.
Right.
You got
Number of
14,
games.
Well, you got 14 guys on a roster.
Revenue streams.
You have less people, less
Right.
mouths to feed.
Right.
And it's a star-driven league where only a few guys get paid. That structure's in place.
Right.
The last 4 guys on your bench get league minimum or they get paid based on service time.
Right. And that
that's
league
fine.
minimum is still
Whatever it
$150,000,
is.
$200,000
Well,
a
it's
year.
probably more than that, but whatever
and lots,
it
and
is.
lots of expenses taken care of by the organization.
But there's less mouths to feed. The NBA
Right.
has it easier in that perspective.
Sure.
Football, you got a 56-man roster.
Yep.
You got practice squads. You got 100 staff, coaching staff, and training. So it's a lot more involved. But still, you're right. Baseball is no different than business. None of these sports are. It's money driven, and the paradigm is shifting towards the strength and the power of the owners, and more towards, and it should be more towards the people who are the participants in your business.
Listen, one of the biggest beefs that the Major League Baseball Players Association has is that there has been a wedge driven between the classes of baseball players as far as finances are concerned. Okay, and actually, it's probably a 3-segment or 4-segmented wedge system. Okay, because you got guys that, once again, they're the utility guy on the end of the bench. He plays once or twice a week. Okay, but because of service time, he's making $450,000 a year. His contract is for $450 because of service time.
Right.
12-year veteran or whatever. There's inequities that are causing a separation of economic classes. Okay, because at the top of the food chain, you got guys making $40-50 million a year. Okay, and you got so many other players that are outplaying them or that play on their level that aren't achieving that level. Okay, this is the point where you can only have 2 or 3 players that make that elite money on your team. And where are you gonna cut costs?
Well, it's a salary cap. That's what it's called. It's to keep It's to keep everybody fair. Essentially,
right.
That's what it's
but
for.
the inequity. I think what the big problem is that the players have driven a wedge. I mean, not the players. The owners have driven a wedge between these superstar players that make all of this money, and then the players on the second and third tier.
Well, go to the NFL. And if you look at the recipe for success in terms of how to win, it's been quarterbacks on rookie contracts.
Yeah.
It's been because you have to spread that money around.
Right.
I don't think it's so much of a kind of a hierarchy of things and how you're supposed to pay this guy this, you're supposed to pay this guy that. The most important player you think theoretically should get paid the most, but that's not the reality of sports, and it never has been, because you build your team's success on guys overachieving, not on reaching a level of success.
Right.
If you have 3 or 4 players that you're paying league minimum for, and they're starters making major contributions, then you have a highly run, successful business model. You're working. It's working.
Right.
That's the goal of these teams. So that's I don't want to say it's the antithesis of how now players are saying, well, wait a second, we all should be getting paid. You guys shouldn't be taking all that money. Everybody should be getting paid, not just based on performance, but based upon service time or based upon whatever their new level of performance is.
But even the service time paradigm has been bastardized. Okay, like I said, you got the guy who's sitting at the end of the bench. He plays once a week as a utility guy. He can play second and third base, and he can play right field. All right, and he's used as a substitution player once or twice a week.
But that same guy wants 20% more money now.
Right, but he's in his 12th season.
Okay,
and he's making $500,000 a year.
However those parameters are set, what I'm saying is now it's the opposite of what I feel is good for a normal business model, and that would be performance-based, commission structure. The harder you work, the more money you make.
Yeah.
Sports has gotten away from that because now they're betting on the guy they're paying not a lot of money to because of how the cap structures are set in different leagues. We're sort of coming in a full circle, but we're kind of digressing away from the importance of what we said about how in baseball, The owners have had it good for a long time. Like you said. They have been in control. Generally, the union, the baseball players union, is looked upon as the weakest of the four major sports.
Right.
They have the least amount of representation and the least amount of power, and they are the ones that are just as equally responsible for the owners being in the positions that they are. Okay. I mean, prime example, we said this about the Marlins and about what they went through in their last 20 years.
Yeah.
That team was bought for pennies and sold for billions.
Yeah.
It was not because of the owner. Okay? It was not because of the owner. It was because of the players. It was because of the coaches. It was because of the organization and because of the success. And actually, they had such few successes, and it didn't matter. The value still went up tenfold.
Yep.
More so. Okay, so baseball's had it, the owners have had it for a long time, and it's time to give it back. It's time to even the playing field, give the players what they want to a degree so that at least it's more balanced. And let's play baseball. Let's just move on from this. Let's not be a sport that has had 5 work stoppages now in the last 40 years. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing and it's ridiculous.
And they've had these work stoppages, and most of them have been owner lockouts.
However it's been. It's been because
they don't want to give up their money,
and they got the power. That has to change. That paradigm has, or baseball is going to be stuck as whatever the 3rd or 4th or 5th most favorite sport. I mean,
look out for soccer.
Well, listen. Baseball is in control of its own destiny. It's never going to get ahead of football. That's not what it's there for. But it is a great replacement when things are going right. And there have been periods over the last so many years where baseball's been king in its spot, and it's the way it should be. You know, I'm a baseball fan. I love baseball. There's a lot of guys like me out there, and there's room to bring people into the game. And a strike would be just another reason for people not to watch.
It's not a strike. It's going to be a lockout.
Well, whatever it is, whatever the terminology is used,
there's a difference.
If there's no baseball and it's because of money, that storyline will be what people see and what people hang on to, and it'll just continue that sour taste of, oh, they're babies, and and whatever. And I'm just tired of hearing it. Okay? Get your shit straight. These are the smartest people in the room, and there's no reason not only to get to this point where they weren't even attempting to get to an agreement, but now they're at the point where their backs are against the wall and they're forced to make an agreement. Get it right. This is what you get paid to do. So get it right. So that's all I got to say about baseball.
I agree. All right, real quick before we go, your early opinion on the hiring of Mike McDaniel and some of these other new head coaches in the NFL. Let's start off with the Dolphins and Mike McDaniel.
I don't have an opinion on any of the hirings
Nerd.
at this point. Only because,
Nerd.
I mean, listen, if we're considering the Rooney Rule and all that stuff, it's so
We
tiring.
can't be here until 3 o'clock. Dude.
I know. It's like
The game starts at 6:35.
I was just going to say, we're never going to get to a point where anybody is going to be fully comfortable with whatever it is that is the final product. If it's one black coach,
all right. Forget
10,
I
who
asked.
cares?
Forget I asked.
I don't know. There's so many things that are going on in that direction. So. What was your question? The original question? Just so aggravated with the whole thing.
Some of these new coach hires.
Yes. Okay. Listen. Guess what? At the end of next season, 10 coaches are going to lose their
10
job.
more coaches.
All right, so whatever. So maybe some of these guys will be there. The whole Dolphin thing is still a mystery to me, even though now it's played itself out as to why it's happened.
I believe everything Brian Flores said.
Yes, and so there's the owner. That's the problem there. And until he goes,
Sell Ross. Sell
that coaching situation. And I have no opinion on the Dolphins until they fix the head. They got to cut the head off the snake.
The Estefans, the Iglesias family. A Pitbull, everybody, get your money together.
A-Rod, get out of here.
Get all your money together,
Yeah.
okay, and buy controlling interest of that team from this schmuck, all right?
There needs to be
get
a
that
reckoning.
carpetbagger out of here. Send him back to New York where he wheels and deals in real estate, and get a Miami guy or group or consortium or even a Miami woman, I don't care. But let's get Miami people in charge of Miami's premier franchise. They've been here from the get-go, since 1965. Nobody else has been, not even the University of Miami, because they were horrible for decades. Okay, well, now we're in danger of becoming the University of Miami and being horrible or mediocre for decades. And one big reason is because of this carpetbagger putz. So let's get him removed. I believe that he colluded. I believe that he tampered. Okay, I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. Okay, period. And people need to come forward and corroborate. Whoever that quarterback was that he was trying to arrange a secret meeting for, I need that guy to come forward and say, yeah, he had me on the boat. He wanted to have a secret meeting. If anybody else knows about the $100,000 paid to lose a game that Brian Flores talked about, step forward.
Put it out there.
Throw
Put it
out
on the
there.
table. Get it out there
Exactly.
so that we can understand what's really going on, even though we think we know.
And that way, the owner executive committee can vote him out and then send it to the floor.
Here's the
and
thing.
You're out of there, pal.
You know what's out there. The other owners already know what's out there, which means that there's more stuff that we don't know that the other owners know that's out there. There's enough. It's time.
Creep.
But they don't want to do it now because they don't want any sort of negative stuff around the Super Bowl. But I guarantee you, into next week, once the game has been played and done, and now we start getting into the business of the NFL again, it's going to be a major topic, and I just can't see how he's going to be able to sustain the pressure and the negative press and the pressure from the NFL and the owners and other people in the organization that are going to say, listen, buddy, thanks, but no thanks, it's time.
Well,
So-
you notice I didn't say anything about racism. I don't believe that Stephen Ross is a racist. I believe that he is a cheater. I think he is a colluder. I think he is a rich guy who is spoiled.
Oh, no question.
And is used to getting what he wants.
He broke
and, I mean,
rules.
I've been 5 feet away from him. The guy is all of 5'2".
Yeah, he's used to paying for everything he gets.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what? And
And
that
he's
works
80.
for him. That works for him.
I don't like 80-year-old owners.
Yeah, that will again his behavioral patterns, his decision making, his power of the dollar, whatever he uses to continue on in his life, live his life. It's run its course in sports. It's run its course now with the decisions he's made. And I'll say it again: when you catch somebody stealing, that means you missed 10 other opportunities in which they stole.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I don't think that he stepped into this mess. I think there's been a series of messes that probably either correlate with this or maybe they don't. They don't have to. This is bad enough on its own. But other situations, other decisions, again, that we don't necessarily know about that are out there. It's time.
Other notorious things that we heard about from him.
It's time.
Okay, that people are coming back and saying that was his idea, his stupid idea. Jay Cutler was Ross's idea because Jay Cutler had played for Adam Gase. It wasn't Adam Gase that called Jay Cutler.
Right.
It was Stephen Ross that stepped up to Adam Gase and said, why don't you call Jay Cutler? We could use a guy with some starting experience. Schmuck.
There's a lot of things. And obviously, that's a football decision thing. But
He
sure.
told Mike Tannenbaum to pay Ndamukong Suh whatever he wanted. Because he wanted Ndamukong Suh on his first free agent contract. You don't pay a defensive tackle, I don't care who he is, even Aaron Donald, you don't pay them $18 million.
No, I agree.
Idiot.
Bad decisions, bad
He's the guy
policies,
that shows up at the fantasy football draft
breaking the law.
and he drafts a kicker in the 5th round and decides, I'm going to win the championship. And he never even makes the playoffs.
I think the Browns. I think the Bengals kicker went in the 5th round.
Schmuck.
He's a 5th round kicker.
I understand, but not in fantasy.
No, I know. I'm just kidding. So.
All right, don't. I'm going to get worked up about this. I'm not going to.
I
We gotta
agree
get
with you.
going, though.
I agree with you.
We've got prep to do.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, well, excuse me, I do. You have to work, but yeah. We are going to attempt, at every chance that we get, we are going to attempt to come back and do more shows. We are about to enter into a very busy phase in both of our lives. And unfortunately, there is no date certain as to when we'll be able to come back. We will attempt to do some podcasts around the draft.
Oh yeah, for
We'll
sure.
attempt to do some podcasts as the summer comes up.
Maybe we could focus on like a month prior to the season starting to really put
Right.
ourselves in a position to find a spot
Right.
where we can really get back and
Yeah, but the off season is going to be very busy for us. With a lot of things going on. I don't necessarily want to spill the beans about what they are. Just needless to say, we're going to be busy. So, thank you for watching our 95th, 95 of these.
Yeah, it's been great fun. So good opportunity and fun.
95.
And I like writing stuff down, doing all the prep, getting all the notes. It helps us in our listen. We do this because we love it, and we do it because we're also fantasy sports junkies,
Right.
And doing all the prep, getting all the information, watching all the stuff on TV gets us to be better fantasy players too.
Yeah.
So that's a part
More
of who we are.
trophies.
So I got some
More trophies and belts.
Yeah.
And belts
So-
and trophies.
But it's also fun to be right.
Oh,
and
yeah.
to get on here and talk about stuff
Oh, yeah.
and watch it come true.
and we're right a lot.
Yeah, wrong a few times too, but that's normal. Everybody
Very
is.
few.
Yeah,
Rarely.
Very few. Go Joe Burrow.
Go Joe Burrow. Okay, well, but before we sign off, Aliens, last shot for a while.
Everywhere. They're coming. They're everywhere.
They're coming there everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of these Dutch scientists, I read a little quick story a few days ago about how he said that they will be here within 3 to 5 years. Others, not the ones that are already here.
Oh, more.
More are coming, and these are not the nice ones, he said. So that's my point of how we already have some here. Like there's going to be some intergalactic kind of war.
The universe is finding out about us.
3 to 5 years, he said. So if you haven't got those MREs, I suggest you get out there and you pick up a few.
Work on your ray gun.
Yeah, bust. Stock up on aluminum foil and toilet paper. How could you not be stocking up on toilet paper right now? Since we've seen all
I
the
could
toilet
use some
paper
right
shortages.
now.
Yeah. Well, here's the advantage. This is why keeping cash is good in the house, because eventually, when that has little value, you can replace that for your toilet
You
paper.
wipe your ass.
Yeah, you're like, honey, hand me the stack of 20s. I'm gonna wipe my ass. I just took a shit.
Oh,
Anyway,
God.
yeah, there we go. So,
All right.
That's it.
So, in closing, once again, I predict 31-27 Bengals shootout to the very end. And you predict
34-26 Rams.
Rams. There you have it. There's your predictions for the winners, and he thinks that the Rams are going to win the Super Bowl. Which I wouldn't be mad about, but
Go Joe Burrow.
got to get Joe. All Joe does is win championships.
Go Joe Burrow.
Well, on behalf of myself and the Maz, say goodbye to the nice people.
See you later, people.
We'll be back in the very near future.
Who are nice.
I promise. As soon as we can get our as soon as we can get our schedules straight, as soon as we can get it down to a coherent schedule, I promise.
Or you get
we'll be
people
back.
working for us. Even
All
better.
right.
You go there, I'll stay here.
Exactly. Talk to you later. Have fun today.